My name is Inessa Burdich. I'm educated physicist, and initially I have about 20 years of business career. But at the same time, in parallel, I had a active meditative practice for more than 35 years. And it's in the beginning of this practice, I didn't have any results or anything at all, and I didn't expect any results. I just did it. I just meditated for years. And then at some point, I began to have some of the perceptions, but those perceptions were sporadic and I was not able to control them. And the next part of that was that I taught myself how to be able to perceive something and not to perceive something, how to be able to control this ability. So it took many years to develop these capacities. And now I'm working in a company which is a Society for Applied Spiritual Research based in Germany. And we are working in the different areas in which we are offering supersensible perception as a service in a variety of contexts, very many different contexts. Just to keep it short, or like the main directions of those are, these are research itself, and this is counseling of the companies and organizations, and this is the educational projects. Some of the parts are smaller, some parts are bigger. So I will mention the biggest parts of the research. These are mainly connected with medical research, or the direction of medical. So these are remedy productions and oncological and psychosomatic illnesses and autistic spectrum disorder. All this work is in the collaboration of doctors. So in that, what we are doing, we are working with the mistletoe-based remedies, and mistletoe is a plant which is growing to another plant, on a tree, and we are researching the initial situation, the initial quality of the substance of the trees, and with the qualities of the trees, which is then going into the mistletoe, the juice of the mistletoe. Then we have a production process. In the production process, Steiner gave us general outline, how to make a production. But there are a lot of many details which we can research and improved. So we're doing that part as well. Then, after the production, we have an ampule with the mistletoe-based remedy in it. But this is not only one type, there are several types of that. And then we have those several types, and then we have or individuals with the different types of cancer and different types of people. And the next step of this research is to which type of a person, which mistletoe-based remedy is fitting the best. So in this part of the research we are doing in the hospitals or with the other doctors, with individuals who has a cancer, and this is our next step. So which means just from the tree to the real hospital, to the real people, real individuals. People also often asked us, where do you work, and what is the approximate number of people with whom do you work, just to see the volume of our work, volume. And we approximately can say that we're working with 400 to 500 people, individuals, approximately per year. So we're consulting this amount of individuals per year, approximately. And we are working with about 10, 12 countries active, and with some other places less active, or once, something like that, or not so often. So, and in every of 10, 12 countries, we are working also usually not in one place, not in one city, but in different places, in different organizations, just to see what is the landscape of our work and what is, how it is. we're also doing educational projects. So we're doing workshops and talks. These workshops on the methods, methodology, and applications of supersensible perceptions. And also, those workshops are aimed people who probably have something or some experiences. They try to meditate, they try to do something, but they have no confirmations. They feel quite separated, not so connected. And for those people, also last years, I'm working on the program of the research of the project, which has a name Research in Spiritual Science. This is educational project mainly for young people, but in fact for everyone who has an interest for their spiritual research. And the main thing of this project is method is learning by doing. So we're we're doing exercises, we're experiencing something, and then we can get to know more about that. A theoretical part is given in the talks, and each talk is based on the supersensible observation of many people. So regarding spiritual diagnostic, the first things which I would like to underline, that in order to communicate such a things which has nothing to do with spiritual, so with the physical, with spiritual being, with spiritual reality, in the contrary with physical world, the spiritual world has no names written on them, or no solid agreements that this is that or this is that. So, for example, if we have a table or a chair, we can experience that again and again. Other people experience it again and again. 100 years later, it still will be the same table or the same chair. But with the supersensible reality, there's a different. Different people perceive something, and they don't know what it is. And if someone will perceive elemental beings, but elemental beings has no badge, I'm elemental beings, or angel has no badge, I'm an angel, and for that we need to agree. So the first step is to agree about a common language. Our research is based on the spiritual science or anthroposophy, and we're using anthroposophical language or anthroposophically based language. But at the same time, we need also to create some new words in order to outline some new phenomena. I will say a few words about supersensible constitution of a human, because this is the first step on spiritual diagnostic. We have our physical body, and this is tangible. We can just see how it is. We can touch it, and then we have some other parts of our constitution which are not physical. And the closest to the physical body part of our supersensible constitution is a life body, or living or life body, which is an anthroposophical language, has a name etheric body. And this body is closer to physical, and it's responsible for all lively process in the body. And when we are, for example, sleeping, then we have our physical body and we have our etheric body. And if we compare that status with with the mummy or the person who passed away, then after several days, there's only physical body, but no etheric anymore. Etheric is not present. So this etheric, and then we can compare, and we will see the strongest. This is the big difference. There is strong difference. So, for example, a mummy has nothing to do with life at all in it. And a human being, even if it is sleeping, has a lot alive in it. And the next part is concerning our feeling body or astral body, and this realm in which we are experience our emotions or feelings, and this realm is bigger than etheric and responsible for different parts in our activity. And the next step would be free souls, free part of the souls which we have. This is not so sharp difference in between them as in between three bodies. But in any way I would like to name them because I will use this in the future. And those parts of the souls are sentient soul, or soul which is responsible for our lower senses, for our animalistic senses, for the fears and aggressions, panic, all these different things, they are situated, or this soul is responsible for this part of our activity. The other part of the soul is so-called intellectual soul, is in fact, even by name, we see that this is something to do with our intellect. This is our thinking realm, or our consciousness realm. And in our time, we're usually saying I to that part of our soul. This part of the soul is active, and this part is situated mainly around our head area, in the head and around our head area. There is another part of the soul which is consciousness soul, and now we're living on the epoch of developing of the consciousness soul. But unfortunately, not all people have it already developed, so we're moving towards that. And there are also three higher bodies, which I would like to name, and these are spirit self, and this is spiritualized part of the astral body. I will say a few words about spirit self. These are part which is has something to do with our idealistic thinking, or about high idealistic thinking, and usually as our humanity generally in this current time, we didn't develop none of these three higher bodies, not spirit self, not life spirit, not spirit man. Those parts are not developed, but from our perception, there are some people who have some parts of the spirit self. The second part is the life spirit, and life spirit is spiritualized part of the etheric body. And spirit man, this is spiritualized part of our physical body. And these are main parts of our spiritual constitution. And there's a part which is living in all these bodies, and this part is our I. Or we call it our I manifestation. Another words for that is I body, or I bearer. These are words from Rudolf Steiner, and we are using them. We're using mainly I manifestation. And we understand on this term how our big spiritual I is actually incarnated in our bodies now. In fact, this is one of the biggest enigma of our time. We have all different bodies, and we are inhabited in them. We are in them somehow, like living, like almost like renting a space at the moment. So, or space and time. But our I is almost like untouchable, or it's hard to grasp what it is. It's quite a question. But in any way, when people are coming to us, we can observe again and again with many people that the people have so-called reduced I manifestation. And then we looked on the children or small child when he or she was born recently. We perceived that the I manifestation of such a child, it's usually bigger than the physical body, approximately on that size. And if such a child or a person is living undisturbed life, undisturbed from biographical reasons, from other reasons life, then the I manifestation is staying like that, staying bigger than the body. Not much bigger, but bigger than the body, approximately like that, so staying like that. if I would have to give a number, I would say this is approximately like 100% of the eye manifestation. This is undisturbed eye, how it is incarnated in the body. But at the same time, people coming to us again, and then in the same time, we are also looking generally how people are, just generally in the street, how people are generally, which level of their manifestation do they have. And then we see that this 100% is very rare in our days. Usually people have something about 80%, which means it is in the bodies of, approximately in the area of the physical body, but not bigger. And this is usual, it's very, very usual, which we see at the moment. And at the same time, we see people who are coming to us with some one or another questions or different problems or illnesses. We perceive that the eye manifestation is reduced, so less than the physical body. It's smaller, and we call it so-called reduced eye manifestation. And we see that this reduced eye manifestation is in a correlation with many different illnesses and diagnoses with the people who came to us. And we see, and in the contrary, with people who are developing the eye manifestation back, how it was before, they are able to gain their health back again. That's why and then another question, how to develop the eye manifestation. For that, we are proposing a specific meditations from Rudolf Steiner, based on anthroposophy, with our additional recommendations how to make it. And with that, we can we see that with these meditations, people are able to develop to strengthen the eye on the status that they look differently in the world. They can become master on their own house. They can see different horizons. They can see new projects, and they can forget a lot of old illnesses or problems. And we see this direct correlation between an illness or a problem in life, and the eye manifestation. So that's a core point, as we see, a core point in the humans. And another question, but why people have reduced eye manifestation? For what reason? And we see that the reason for that is very, very often is biographical reasons. There are biographical reasons. So what's happening is we are as a children or as a small child coming to the world open to the love and the beauty and the truth, and then something happening can be early divorce of the parents. It can be that a child given to the foster care, can be other restrictive conditions which is happening with the child and with the soul of the child, and then our eye manifestation is becoming smaller or is having this gesture. Our intellectual soul or our space of intellect, I think everyone knows that now it's so active in the world. We're using them in everyday activities so much in our intellect, and some people are really living only in intellect. And this intellectual soul also can be developed. And if it is developed, intellectual soul, if person is working on himself, develop himself to some extent, then the intellectual soul can grow. Then we can have bigger and bigger space of consciousness. Especially thought concentration exercise are very good for that. And one of the phenomena, and then one can have a relatively big intellectual soul by one reason or another. And then one of the phenomena of intellectual soul is so-called radiality in that. Usually every part of our supersensible constitution must be cloudy and fluid. That's how it looks like. It can be less cloudy, more cloudy, with some streams in it or different colors, but every part needs to be like that. And if it is not cloudy, if, for example, I'm speaking about intellectual soul, if it has like radius or like spikes, it looks a bit like a wheel of the bicycle with these lines. Then it's something not correct. Something not right, and usually people with this radiality, they also have quite quite big intellectual soul, but this is not developed one. This is because it's became bigger because of this radiality, and often people who are coming with us to us with this phenomena, we perceive that they can. They had in previous situations, biographical situations, they had situations then they had to be over time looking how the others are behave, how siblings or parents behave, or how shall I behave in order they behave correct way, and then they develop some activity which is coming outside of their consciousness, and they are looking outside more rather than not inside of themselves, and then everything is growing, but on the cost of the I manifestation. I manifestation is under the restriction condition is going smaller, but intellectual soul going bigger. And then I'm coming to that situation, which is also often we see people coming to us with that profile, so to say, when the I manifestation is really small, but the intellectual soul is overdeveloped with this structure, with radiality structure, and it's strong radiality structure. And then this looks like a bit like an umbrella or something like that, and that is not stable at all. And we see that when this like a profile or ratio between I manifestation and intellectual soul, when it is like that, then people with this profile, they often report that they have hypersensitivity. And this is often more and more we hear in our time this phenomenon of hypersensitivity. They are too sensitive to different activity outside them, and there are usually three main directions. And one is when people are sensitive towards the light. If something is too bright, or sound, something is too loud, for example. Another type of hypersensitivity when people are, they immediately know how the other people see it or react, or they're entering the room and they have big intellectual soul, which is immediately looking or checking how that is, and they are very much dependent of the opinion of the others as well, often. And another direction is very, very widely spread in nowadays. This is so-called Wi-Fi or electrosensitivity, when people are too sensitive for some Wi-Fi radiation, mobile radiation. And about electromagnetic sensitivity, and about other types of sensitivity, or hypersensitivity, better to say. There are also often a question how to deal with that, or how to remedy. Is there any remedy against? And we know, I think we know that it's so widely spread now that people are buying a lot of amulets, or wearing some specific hat, or putting a foil around the head, or running to the forest, which is harder and harder to find the forest without Wi-Fi hotspot in it, and unfortunately it became worse and worse with that condition. So there are now hardly find a place without electrosmoke, and without some sounds or some light or people. No, it's very hard to find it in the world. So, and we see that escape or putting amulets is also like a way of escape. It is not the way. The only way, as we see at the moment, is this is increasing your I manifestation. When we're increasing our I manifestation, then the ratio in between I manifestation and this overdeveloped intellectual soul with this, specifically with radial structure, it's changing. And then when we are developing our I manifestation, we became more and more masters on our own house, and then we can keep it. We still can have an ability for hypersensitivity if we would like to, but we're able to master it. We're able to stop it if I don't want to have it. because our very good developed intellectual soul, it also can be understood as a instrument for supersensible perception, as a part of the instrument for supersensible perception in us. But if we are not able to stop perceive all these irritations, then it's not that we are using this instrument, but instrument is using us. So increasing their manifestation and calming intellectual soul, calming. We have to work with all these different status of our stress or depression or different things which can come on this direction. For that, we recommend meditations for strengthening the eye manifestation and for calming our intellectual soul and our astral body or our feeling body. I give you an example about the astral body. So our astral feeling body can have a spiky constitution or structure. But there are other phenomena in the astral and etheric bodies, which I also wanted to mention today. And those phenomena are so-called blockages. And this is something which is coming to us. And in one way or another, we are kind of, we have this load, we have this heaviness on us. And there are two types of blockages. We distinguish at the moment two types of blockages. And they are similar, they have a similar reasons, and in astral body and etheric body. And if there are biographical blockages, so first type is biographical blockages. The reasons for biographical blockages are the following, that we experienced the same repetitive emotions in our life, such as fears or being humiliated in a school, for example, or in between siblings or in other situations. And then let's keep repeating. Sometimes it can be the family itself can be too authoritarian, or one of the parents can be too authoritarian, and then we have these repetitive emotions. And then it's the image which I have, it's like we have a river which is floating, which is streaming, and then we put one stone in this river, and it's kind of one emotion, and then the situation repeated, and then it's another stone is there, and then repeated again and again and again, and we put more and more stones, and then at some point this one stone is nothing, it's still, the river is still streaming, and 2 stones is okay, and 10 stones is still okay, but then at some point there's a whole island appeared there, and at that place, somewhere in our supersensible constitution, a river cannot flow anymore. And these are biographical blockages. They consist of many small things, and they then create a situation that this blockage is not only in astral, and going deeper to the etheric, and then it can go even deeper to physical, and then we can have some problems connected to physical body, some digestion problems, or many other problems which we can have further on out of these blockages. And this I mentioned biographical blockages. And another type of blockages, they are exogenous, so-called exogenous blockages. Blockages which came, influences which came to us outside and create a blockage in us. And these are also can be in astral and etheric, and those blockages came out of the situation when appeared once. It can be quite strong situations, but we usually remember those situations. And in the language, it also exists an expression, something like a dagger in the heart, or the punch in the stomach, and all these things. And this usually happened once and very sharp, and we remember that. And then supersensible reality is the following, that these are something definitely came and sitting on one place or in another. And the work which we are able to do in our consultations, something which came from outside, we can remove from outside. It is something as if we are walking on the street and we can get some wooden stick in our finger, on our toe, or whatever. Then we're coming to a doctor, and doctor take it away from outside. This is similar. Biographical blockages, they are so-called karmical work or karmical reasons for that. So we are not able to interact directly with that. We are accompanying a person to work directly with that blockage himself or herself. We offer our consultations in which we can relieve this load which we have out of the reasons, which I just explained, only that part which is possible to take away. The other part, which is we are not possible to take away, we are accompanying or giving advice how to work with. General advice towards everyone who would like to go spiritual path is meditate and never stop. It can be many years with no results, just keep going. If you're taking 5 minutes, it must be 5 minutes every day. So that's rhythm approach is very important. So keep meditating. If you feel lonely or if you feel not supported from the other people or not searching for a companion, this is we propose to. We are also offering workshops and talks in which you can meet your spiritual companions and then continue your own work. And our gesture is always to bring methods, resources which you yourself can use on your spiritual work and keep going, continue going immersely, endlessly on your own path. So we're always trying to bring enthusiasm to encourage you, keep going. This is important for you not only for some spiritual path or some other reasons, but just generally also even for your health it's important. So keep going. It is really important and we're trying to support as much as we can.